Christy McLaughlin. I mean, isn't she beautiful?
Steven, everybody. All right, I'm in heels, so I'm just like checking the ground for a second to make sure that I'm not a hazard. My name is Christy McLaughlin. In my hometown, I'm referred to as a constitutional warrior. So do we have any warriors here?
Woo!
All right, so what is a constitutional warrior? A constitutional warrior is somebody who believes that their rights, their fundamental rights, are granted by God, not the government. That our fundamental liberties, our personal liberties, are non-negotiable. And that the Constitution must be defended and protected. Yes, thank you. So the DNC was last week. Did anyone watch that? Yeah. Now, everything the Democrats said was an absolute lie, right? An absolute lie, except for one thing. Joe Biden stated that we are at war for the soul of this country. Do you guys agree?
Absolutely.
We are at war for the soul of this country. We are at war with the Marxists to save America. Now, yesterday we all got here in Jacksonville, and I'm with the lovely speakers for the Red Pill Roadshow, and I gotta tell you, we had instant camaraderie. We were instant friends, and the reason being is that we're generally happy people because we don't get involved in politics. That's like such a nasty term now. Have you ever noticed that politics is kind of a cuss word at this point? The reality is that we are involved in our country. We're involved with the issues. We're involved in protecting our children. We're involved in protecting the Constitution. We're involved in protecting our rights. Did you know that 84% of 18 to 25-year-olds are socialists? That's a fact according to Pew Research in 2018. 84%. And that's not an accident at all. That was the leftist plan. They use their position to indoctrinate, to radicalize our young people. And all you have to do is look at Chaz in Seattle, or look at the crime in New York, or the rioting in Portland, or the burning in Minneapolis to know that the K through 12 system, kindergarten through 12th grade, the colleges and universities, and the fake news media have been working in tandem. They've been working together to indoctrinate and radicalize our young people for the last 25 years. Including China, I like it. Yeah, they're trying to make us turn into a socialist country. And that's not what America is. So this radicalization of this country is a mass manipulation to make us become more socialist and to make us turn away from Christian values, from the fundamental values that this nation is founded upon. Now, I'm gonna tell you guys a little story. I want you guys to know that if you think about it, colleges and universities, the majority of them are super liberal, right? And also, according to some studies, 80% of professors are radical socialists. And these are the people that are in charge of grading, are in charge of the education of our young children. And therefore, they're the ones that are deciding the future of this nation. They are the ones that are working towards having these radical socialists protesting with BLM, Antifa, trying to destroy this nation. Now, my story is, in 2016, I entered a law school called Florida International University. And I was 21 years old, and I'll tell you, I was a little naive. I did not think that I would have to endure propaganda and campaigning for Hillary Clinton every single day in the classroom. I didn't think that because I was conservative, I would be targeted by my professors. I didn't think that working towards helping President Trump get elected and the Republican Party would make my school discriminate and retaliate against me for being conservative. But that is exactly what they did. They targeted me because I am an unapologetic, America First, Trump-supporting conservative. Pretty hardcore.
Oh, I love her.
Yeah. I'm not a bar member yet. I actually ran for office. I ran for Congress immediately after graduating, so I'll have to tackle the bar later. That's a fair point. That's a fair point because let's think about it. What FIU was trying to do was ensure that they were only churning out liberal lawyers, liberal attorneys to continue to push their agenda, right? That's what they do. They try to control your education. Exactly. So they try to control this country. They try to make sure that every student that successfully graduates and has a career becomes a radical leftist. And if you aren't easily indoctrinated, they just throw you out on the street. That's what FIU tried to do. They tried to target me, and I did not let them. Thankfully, I escaped that school. I switched schools, and I graduated as a conservative lawyer. And now, as a Juris Doctor, I am FIU's worst nightmare. I am a conservative lawyer who will fight for my rights and also fight for the rights of all the other students who have been facing the same problem. So when I graduated, actually when it first happened, I started to think I can't possibly be the only student that has dealt with this, the only student who has been discriminated against for being conservative and a Trump supporter. And it turns out I'm definitely not. All right, so actually I'll let you all know, if you guys know anybody who's experienced something like I have, please contact me. Honestly, I want to hear your story and I want to help you as much as you can because there are hundreds, thousands of students who have experienced the same kind of discrimination that I did. They feel discriminated against with their grading, with letters of recommendation, with career opportunities. Think of it this way. The Iowa State University, do you remember what happened there? Anybody? So there was a professor in Iowa State University who put in her syllabus, if you are against Black Lives Matter, or if you are pro-life, you will be thrown out of the classroom. She put it in her syllabus, all right? And guess what? She was never fired. Never. What they did is they simply made her take it out of her syllabus. But do you think for 1 second that this professor is not going to still identify exactly who those conservative students are and find a way to use her position to ensure that they don't have a successful time in the classroom or that they don't receive their education? She's the professor. She's controlling their grading. She's controlling their future. Exactly, I agree. It's very hypocritical. These leftists are so in control, and that's the general problem. So we might ask ourselves, why is this important? Some people might say, hey, I'm not in school. It's not my problem, right? Or they might say, if it's such horrible propaganda, why are conservatives going to these schools in the first place? But that's exactly what the socialists want. They want us to be complacent. They want us to turn the other cheek and allow these attacks on conservatives and allow them to continue to indoctrinate the very susceptible students so they can add more to their mindless drones in their army. That's exactly what's giving them power, but we're not going to let them, right? All right, thank you. There's a real big issue, I think, overall, and that is, I truly believe that these colleges and universities are they're training grounds for the Marxist regime. And I'll give you an example. Did you know, actually, there are hundreds of campuses that are doing this, but my alma mater, Florida Gulf Coast University, has implemented contact tracing. And it's thorough. It's extremely thorough contact tracing. that the moment you set foot on campus, every student is tracked, every single move they make, to the point that the campus knows exactly what you're doing every second of the day. It's so thorough, it might as well be like they're chipping their students like we chip our pets. They're treating people like animals. And I think it's a practice ground, because what's really happening is our universities are trying to test out what we're willing to consent to. And we have to fight it, because the more we allow this kind of actions, the more they'll slowly implement it into society. And the more that they do that, they already have hundreds of thousands of students who have gotten used to it or accepted it as normal. So Joe Biden is right. We are in a war for the soul of this country. I'm a granddaughter of Cuban immigrants who fled in 1961. They lost everything to flee a communist regime. I cannot possibly let them down by not taking the action to fight the Marxist regime that they are trying to slowly bring to this country. So I'm asking you, are you guys going to fight with me? My 102-year-old great-grandma told me that this is exactly how Fidel Castro got started. In 1959, in Meet the Press, in an interview with Meet the Press, he actually stated, "I am not a communist." He stated, "I'm not a communist. This is for humanitarian efforts. This is for the betterment of our country." Does that sound familiar? Did we not hear exactly that from Michelle Obama, from Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, from Joe Biden himself? This is the same regime, and we are repeating history. And what we are doing right here is exactly right. Because if we don't take a stand, if we don't take the action right now, we will lose this country to the Marxists, the communists, the socialists in a matter of months. I'm not even talking about years, in a matter of months, unless we take action. So what I'm asking from you right now, the way we actually take action and make sure that Donald J. Trump is re-elected in November is we take a big red pill. We are Red Pill Nation, right? We gotta take a big red pill and bring on a red wave that is so massive, this country has never seen anything like it. Because Donald J. Trump is the only president that has stood in the way of this communist Marxist regime that is going to let this country crumble. America as we know it will be gone unless we re-elect our president, President Trump. We also have to think past November. We have to think about those indoctrinated students. We have to think about the students that are going to be indoctrinated as they're entering, look, it's August. They're entering school right now. They're going to be having to tolerate this indoctrination and this leftist regime. And we can't allow the federal government to sign a blank check funding these state schools, just like Iowa State University. It's a state school, a government-funded school. We can't allow them to continue to sign a blank check allowing this kind of abuse of power against our students. And my proposal is to defund these colleges. We have to defund the colleges that are propaganda machines, indoctrination machines that are discriminating against our students. If we defund the colleges, we will win in a landslide in November and in the future elections. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. My name is Christy, McLaughlin.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's give her another round of applause.